Hey YouTube, coming at you with the Ultra League team. In this one, we are looking at Poliwrath, obviously with the new move Icy Wind and the buff to Scald. It has jumped on PvP Poke rankings. I think the non-shadow was like number 3 or 4 on PvP Poke rankings, and the other one, shadow, is like top 10. So the question is Poliwrath worth the top, like a top investment in Ultra League at this point? And having used it today, I think the answer is yes. It's really strong. Even in bad matchups, I never felt out of it. There's sort of like there are certain matchups that I had today where I felt bad. So like let's just look at it from this perspective. You're weak to flying, which you can hit super effective with Icy Wind. You're weak to electric. There's not a ton of electric in this meta. There's Ampharos, which is whatever. I ran into a Heliolisk today, which is half normal, so I did fine there. And then there's like Galvantula. So you are kind of like a little weak to electric. So that's why I paired with Nidoqueen. I went double poison to start, and then I switched to Pidgeot in the second because I found like double poison has its own issues. And then obviously the Giratina matchup's interesting because you can Icy Wind it a bunch and lower it and super effective lower its attack, and then but that thing's just so spammy and bulky, right? So where the counters are resisted like against those Pokemon, I went against like a Cresselia today and stuff like that. Like that's where it obviously falters. So you need to cover all those weaknesses, which I don't think I did. I think that's why I think like if I had like a Poison Dark like Drapion or something like that, I think I like a better Poison Dark than Skunk. I probably would have used that. But let's take a look at it in action because I do think that it is quite strong in this meta. So again, like right off the bat here, like this is a bad lead, but it's not a terrible lead because I can go Icy Wind. They end up trying to catch on their own Poliwrath. Right off the bat, I'm just like, okay, what is my best play here? I should have probably come in Nidoqueen quicker. Go for the Scald. Do not get the lowering of the attack. Then come in with my Skunk. Shield up 1 because I know one Scald will hurt. Dynamic Punch. That would also hurt. I think I can live one move here. Dynamic Punch is going to hurt though. Icy Wind, Dynamic Punch. Interesting combo. Loaded with energy though, so that's fine. Pidgeot comes in. I'll go back to back here. The Skunk was like a nice option just because like you're like weak to Cresselia. You're going to be tough against Giratina. Anything that resists your counter. That's why I thought like a Dark would be good. But it can't be like a Dark, just pure Dark, because then you're double weak to Fairy. So Dark Poison to neutralize that Fairy. Then I got my Nidoqueen in here, and it is a Frizzy in the back. So this game is over here. I think I just sacrificed the Poliwrath. Yeah, but the thing with Poliwrath though, or they just quit. Yeah, that makes sense too. So Ampharos, right here we go, right off the bat, bad lead. I gotta go into Nidoqueen as a safe swap. They are really slow on the leave here. I do have my ELO. So these were all done. When were these done? These were done after I got my rating. Yeah, these are after I got my rating, which if you didn't see was like, what was it, like 2234, 2250, somewhere around there. And we're early in the season, so it's not like these are scrubs. Like most of the people that I have seen have shown like legend poses over the past couple of years. So I'm surprised they did not get out that fast, but I think they are also running a double poison team or something like that, so they couldn't leave immediately, especially that like I think they had a double poison that I could earth power them, which is why I think they kind of stalled a little bit. So Poliwrath, let's just talk about Poliwrath a bit. I think just having two moves that let me actually bring up the damage per energy on these. Using the official PV Poke way that people taught me how to do correctly when you look at the ranking. So let's go to Ultra League. Yeah, so Poliwrath XL, number 3 on the rankings. Its record with ideal stats is 22-16, which is already strong. But what makes it really strong, I think, is outside of just like the terrible matchups, which is again like Charm users, and Cresselia that has Psycho Boost, Psycho Cut, Grass Knot, and Moonblast. Even the losses against like Venusaur, 359, like these are like losses that are pretty big, but like they're not like the charm users that are like 184, right? They're you lose, but it's like okay. And even like in the matchups where you can't throw anything, Tapu Fini, Jellicent, 3-3, 391. That's the kind of what I felt with it. It just felt like I'm actually wondering where it is as a switch in the Ultra League. Number 2 switch. It is the number 2 switch in Ultra League, and that feels legit to me. It just felt like it was a very safe Pokemon. Because like I said, if you use, let's think about the safe swaps that you use Giratina. Why it's and Giratina is still high ranked as a safe swap. Use Giratina as a safe swap because it is bulky, spammy, and even in bad matchups against like fairies and ice, you can still Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak a ton. And outside of like if it's a pure fairy, you can hit with like neutral for Scald. And speaking about those stats, let's just take a look at those stab moves. Okay, ranking. Someone told me how to do this. Show stats. Here we go. Right, so with stab, which this takes into account, Icy Wind is not good. It has basically the same damage per energy as Ice Punch, actually just a little less, 1.33 versus 1.38, but you're using it to lower your opponent's attack, right? You lower your opponent's attack, and it's obviously just coverage for flyers. Scald is where it's at. A 50 energy move with stab, 102 damage, 50%, so 2.04 damage per energy. So getting a 2.04 damage per energy at a 50 energy move is pretty good. And then a 50% chance of lowering your opponent's attack. And that's why it just feels very safe, right? Because, again, you're going to lose the ones, you're going to lose the fairies. You're going to have trouble with the ones that you can't throw anything against, Jellicent, Tapu Fini. But outside of that, like even like Grass, you can still hit super effective with Icy Wind. Giratina's still hit super effective with Icy Winds. Electric and stuff that you're weak to, flyers you hit Icy Wind. Electric, your stuff that you're weak to, you're doing, as long as it's not like again, there's no water electric, but any sort of neutral matchup, you're getting to a pretty fast energy generation encounter to get to this 102 damage stab Scald that has a 50% chance of lowering your opponent's attack, right? And that's just what makes Poliwrath very strong in the Ultra League. And I said I didn't use it, so I'm shooting this Saturday night for going up Sunday morning. The day after the Stuttgart regionals, where 7 Poliwraths made day 2. So I said it was a bit overrated in Great League because I had trouble with it. But clearly 7 of the top sort of best players made it work on their show 6 team. And I think it comes down to same sort of thing. It's got decent bulk, it's spammy with counter, a stab counter, and now you have coverage move that you can lower the attack. You're a lot of times just going to be able to lower your opponent's attack no matter what, right? 100% on Icy Wind, 50% on Scald, while also being able to hit with like 100 energy, 100 damage stab move. So as long as that's not resisted, you're looking pretty good. So Poliwrath is a huge upgrade this season. I think it is one worth investing. It kind of has the same thing. Well, it's funny because it had Ice Punch last season too. So I was gonna make the argument that like kind of like what makes Medicham so strong is that it's bulky, it's got counter stab, it's got Ice Punch for coverage, and then it's got Psychic. Because like, welcome to slightly lighter Medi in the Great League and a same sort of one in the Ultra League, right? You're at like a level 44, 45 Poliwrath in the Ultra League with not amazing bulk, but like not as good as Poliwrath. I mean, not as good as Medi, obviously, but like decent bulk, stab counter, Icy Wind coverage, hard hitting, stab move that also has a chance to lower your opponent's attack. So yes, definitely I think worth building in. I actually built this up. I had a Poliwrath a non community one built up from previous seasons, and I think it's so good. And like this one here, I completely mess up. I was like, oh, I'll just shield one, and then I can just feather dance and then like farm down on feather dance. And like, no, this thing, as you're gonna see here with the feather dance, is like not gonna do a ton. These counters are still neutral as you're a flyer. These, despite Icy Wind being lowered here, it's still gonna do well over 50%. Or actually, it doesn't do over 50%. It's the freaking counters that continue to add up here, right? And that's what makes Poliwrath deadly, right? So I do live because it's 4 times lower now. So a 4 times lowered Icy Wind is still not enough to get out. I do have a move that I try and bank and get out here. I got a Feather Dance bank. Let's bank it for later. This comes back in, and there is your Trevenant, and here is your coverage, right? 1 Icy Wind lowers the attack. 2nd Icy Wind lowers the attack. I think they let this one go. It does like 50%, just under, like 40 something actually. Counters are resisted, so they have to throw one here. I'm out of move. Do I just shield for the 3rd one? I don't think so. Yeah, no, it makes sense just to go Nidoqueen and yeah. It's already 2 times lowered. I really don't need to worry about a charge move. Although I don't need to worry charge move on Heliolisk either, but 2 times lowered. Don't really need to worry about the charge move. Just farm down. This game's over. So yeah, I had a non-community day Poliwrath with terrible IVs, and I had a 0, 11, 12 community day. I should start putting that in. Let me actually find the counter. Someone said I need to start doing that, and I think they are right, which is finding the move that are legacy and starring it as such. So counter is a community day move that you need an elite TM for, or was it this season? Let me just check to see the events, because you may be able to get it next weekend for the like December community day. Yeah, I see Poliwag on it, so 100% you're going to be able to get it. So just for those who have not seen it, basically Saturday, December 16th and 17th, 2 to 5 p.m., you will have, so December, we're focused on Poliwrath here, so December 17th from 2 to 5, more Poliwag in the wild, but also during this entire time, so Saturday, December 16th at 9 a.m. to Sunday, December 17th at 9 p.m., you'll be able to evolve Pokemon to get their featured attack. And one of those Pokemon is Poliwrath, evolve Poliwhirl to get a Poliwrath that knows counter. So if you have some Poliwraths or Poliwhirls or Poliwags in your thing and you want Poliwrath, I think with the bump, it is probably worth getting it in both Great League and Ultra League. Other notables on here, you can evolve to get a Charizard with Blast Burn and Dragon Breath. Most people will probably TM Dragon Breath off after, but getting the Blast Burn is key. Sand Slash with Shadow Claw. Slowbros or whatever. Ampharos is no. Jumpluff with Acrobatics. If you don't have a Great League one, I would get that. Quagsire, I get one with Aquatail, but I would also have one with Mud Bomb and Stone Edge. Smackdown T-Tar if you want that as like a raid attacker mostly. Walrein, I know most people don't use Walrein anymore, but getting Icicle Spear on Walrein is sort of a must. No. Conkeldurr with Brutal Swing if you want some coverage for that. Haxorus, RIP Breaking Swipe. Hydreigon with Brutal Swing, yeah, that's one you should probably get. And then, any of the starters that get their move, Chestnut, Frenzy Plant, Delphox, Blastbird, Greninja, Hydro Cannon, Greninja especially for more so Ultra League, but a little bit of Great League. Obstagoon with Obstruct. So there's a lot of Pokemon on here that are worth... I would probably tag all of these because it's going to be tough to... So just a little tip. It's tough to remember like what Pokemon are able to get moves during community. So I would just create a tag in your Pokemon and tag it like Community Day moves, and then just go through all your like Charmanders and Charmeleons and Ace Slash and all these Pokemon that I just mentioned, and tag them. That you need to just tag them under that post so that you can evolve them during Community Day. So that would be my suggestion, as I am countering and scalding multiple times here. An A Ninetales, which is enough to grab some shields. Shield up once here, comes out with energy. So the only thing that, again, I would work on is pairing with this. This is a bad matchup. This is not a better matchup anyways, but so I probably wouldn't pair the way I did with Poliwrath. Just you need to cover essentially with the other two Pokemon. I'd work on, even though you have Icy Wind, I work on, I mean, first and foremost, it's Charm users, which is why I put in Nidoqueen as a poison. That was my first thought process. But you also need to cover Flyers, honestly, Flyers, Grass, and the Pokemon that you can't throw anything at, which are Tapu Fini and Jellicent. So I would probably try and build a bit better. I think I did a top team with this. I didn't even like take my own advice and look at what I said as a top team. I'm notoriously bad for that. I like put out top teams and then I'm like in the moment I'll just build my own team and people are like, you didn't use your team. I'm like, yeah, I actually did not even look at that. It's my bad. Sorry. I should, because I work through team building and then I just like on the fly when I'm like on the bus or whatever, I just like build whatever. So Mandibuzz. Again, Mandibuzz makes you double to Fairy, so you can't do that. They're saying Mandibuzz because it gets Cress, Giratina, Virizion, Pidgeot, Tapu. No, it doesn't get Tapu. Why is that even recommended there? You lose to like half of those things. Okay, that's weird. I actually did use Cresselia on. Okay, that's my video tomorrow with Talonflame. Trevenant. No, because Trevenant, that would make you double weak to flying. And that's why, like, there is actually no Pokemon here that, like, completely covers everything that you're weak to. Right? Because it's Cresselia. It's just a weird combo because it's like the bulky Psychic and Ghost Pokemon that resist your counters. Cresselia, Giratina. And then there's, like, Grass Pokemon, Virizion. And then there's Flyers and Pidgeot. And then there's other water Pokemon that you can't hit against, like Tapu Fini. So it's just like there's like 6 different like typings on this top here, and there's not one Pokemon that can completely take care of all these, right? So you need to like pick your battles how to team build, and which is why I had problems team building with this Pokemon, I think. So yeah, the thought process on, you can go like, just giving you some options here. Registeel versus Giratina altered. I don't like that. Cresselia is on here, which Cresselia is just like super tanky and can just kind of act as a safe swap. It's not a bad idea. Jellicent would be a bit tough, right? Because Jellicent would beat both Cresselia and Poliwrath, but that's an option. They recommended Mandibuzz because Mandibuzz can deal with some of like the Cress and Giratina, but that would make you double weak to Fairy. What is all here? Trevenant's on here. Trevenant's an interesting one. It would make you double weak to Flyer. Like Pidgeot would cause this team a lot of problems. But I guess with Pidgeot, you can like, if they try and like bait you and you don't fall for the bait, you can counter an Icy Wind a bunch and like you'll lose, but you'll stay evenish. You'll lose, but it's like not a terrible loss. So Trevenant's not a bad idea. They have Weezing as an option. Galarian Weezing. I should build mine up. I think I have enough XLs for Galarian Weezing. But yeah, there's really no Pokemon that can beat all of these. I was going to say Charm A9, because Charm A9 can deal with a lot of this. It would just have trouble with like grass poisons, like Venusaur and stuff. But outside of those grass poisons, like the main grass a lot of people use is Virizion. So if you have Charm, that's still hitting super effective against Virizion. So you can maybe do like A9 with Charm. Yeah, because then you'd have coverage for just poisons would be problems. Like actually you can't, because then poisons would be a problem like Tentacruel. Tentacruel would be a problem. And that's why I think Poliwrath is good. And I think I think I'm doing this wrong and trying to pair other Pokemon with Poliwrath. Maybe you want to build a team and then use Poliwrath to a certain extent as your safe swap. That actually may be a better way to try and build with this Pokemon. Because right now there's like, you got to cover like 6 or 7 different Pokemon with Poliwrath, which is tough to like team build the other two. But if you can get like a good core and then maybe use Poliwrath as a safe swap, as long as you don't have like a huge double weakness on that combo, I think that could be a better way to team build with Poliwrath, just having used it. It does seem generally fairly safe despite those bad matchups. But that is it. That is Poliwrath. We will go over a viewer. So if you made it this long, let me know what you're watching. Both retro videos did terrible yesterday. So I'm gonna do this Poliwrath this morning. I'm gonna do viewer submitted Pidgeot Quagsire team this afternoon for retro, and then I got a Talonflame coming tomorrow morning, and I don't have anything yet, but Sunday I'm going to be battling with Suicune. I'm going to learn how to pronounce that before the video. Suicune, Suiqune, the legendary Pokemon there. I'm going to battle with that Sunday, so that will probably be a Monday morning or afternoon video, whatever Talonflame is not. But let me know if you want to see more Ultra League or Great League. I feel like people want to see the Ultra League Pokemon in action. I feel like Retro Cup's already been on for a week, so people are already bored of that and know what the meta is. But let me know if I'm reading that right in the comments below. Anyways, that is it. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate the support. And I'll see you guys in the next one.